In this episode, I'm going to be discussing 3 common mistakes I see in 90% of Google Ads accounts that I audit. If you're not aware you're doing it, you probably want to fix it as soon as possible. Hey guys, welcome back to the PPC Cave with me, Ryan. Gene's not here today, it's just me, and I'm not going to be messing about today. I'm just going to get straight into a real quick topic that I thought was interesting when I came up with it, and it's based on a lot of the work that I typically do. I get a lot of people come to me asking, Ryan, can you take a look at my account, my Google Ads account? Can you give me some feedback, some pointers and things like that? And I've seen almost everything inside a Google Ads account to the point that there are no surprises for me anymore. On the rare occasions, you could say, maybe the niche that the client is in is a bit surprising, or, like the other day, for example, I saw someone still using, in 2025, still using single keyword ad groups in 2025. Bear in mind, SCAGs, probably at their height, 2016, 2017, maybe 18, but now in 2025, they are long gone. Yet I still see accounts using SCAG, which I don't know is concerning or not. Nevertheless, in this episode, I'm going to be discussing 3 common mistakes I see in 90% of Google Ads accounts that I audit. And these are the main ones that stand out for me, that I always see, that I always encounter. And it's one of those things that if you're not aware you're doing it, you probably want to fix it as soon as possible. It's going to help you in so many different ways, help you with your strategies, help you with the output of the campaign in terms of the quality of traffic you get. That's going to be higher up and potentially in a better position to convert, as well as just general good housekeeping, in Google Ads. So number one, I'm going to kick off with it. Number one of the most common things, and these are, by the way, in no specific order. These are just 3 of the common mistakes I see in 90% of the accounts that I audit. Number one, not using negative keywords. You'd be surprised how many people, how many business owners, advertisers don't even use negative keywords. It's one of the main things I always do. If any client works with me, they can be sure that I always go through the search terms, add negative keywords, do negative keyword research to begin with, create negative keyword lists as well, competitors, their own brand if they want to, and just general negatives really. So this is something that I see, or I don't see, I see a lack of in many accounts. 90% of the accounts I audit, they're not using negative keywords, which is hugely concerning because at the end of the day, there are only a few things left in Google Ads that we can control. Things such as we still have manual bidding, which is great. We're able to control what is said in the ad, we're able to control things here and there, but with smart bidding strategies, a lot of it has been taken away. Devices, ad scheduling, locations, audiences. For smart bidding strategies such as maximize conversions, maximize conversion value, target ROAS, target CPA, we're unable to change a lot of these levers that we were once able to change. And unless you're just using something like manual bidding, then you can't really make full use of all these different secondary level bidding adjustments, because Google does it as part of their automated bidding, their smart bidding strategies. Going off tangent there a little bit, but what the point is that we are losing control of what we are able to manage. Negative keywords, going through and adding negative keywords, looking at what people have searched for on Google in the search terms report, and adding low quality searches as negatives is going to shape and clear and sculpt your traffic up, essentially, to the point that, if you keep sculpting that search traffic that comes through, adding negative keywords, adding keywords that are profitable, over time you're going to get more and more specific about who you're advertising to, and you're going to get better results because of it. So yeah, make sure you are adding negative keywords as much as possible from your search terms report. Number 2, and I'm looking at my notes here, again, another hugely common issue I see in Google Ads accounts, just having no conversion tracking set up, or having conversion tracking there, but it's incorrect. It's not been set up properly. And I know Google have recently made a few changes as to how we can create conversion tags and get goals set up inside Google Ads. I'm yet to really go into it. I'll be completely honest. There's not many things that I outsource in my business, but conversion tracking is probably one of them. It's just so complex. It's very technical. If it's a lead form, if it's a phone call, I can do it. That's not a problem. And if you're on a Shopify website, if you're e-commerce, I can do that as well. But when it comes to, actually hard coding conversion value tracking, or trying to get conversion value tracking set up as a conversion action inside Google Ads, this is quite complex, because you need to do things like data layer pushes. You need to have like all these e-commerce prod IDs and things like that. And it just basically goes over my head. I'm not that technical. I'm more strategy focused, campaign creation, management, that kind of side of things. So the only thing I really do tend to outsource these days is conversion tracking. And shout out to my conversion tracking specialist. He's been amazing over the years. So many accounts that I've worked on with him to get conversion tracking set up. So he's absolutely fantastic. And it just makes my life so much easier that I can rely on him to go off and set up conversion tracking. Once that's done, I can then implement the strategy, and go through and create the campaigns, manage the campaigns for the best output. But yeah, that is probably one of the biggest things that I see from account to account, that there is no conversion tracking set up, or there is conversion tracking set up, but it's incorrect. Very, very rarely do I see conversion tracking inside an account and it is set up correctly. So yeah, make sure that you go into your Google Ads account, double check that your conversion tracking, that your goals are set up and operating correctly. Really, really important to do, because otherwise, without it, how do we know which campaigns are the driving force inside the Google Ads account? How do we know which ads are most profitable? How do we know which keywords or which ad groups or anything is the most profitable? And just as concerning, how do we know we're not making the wrong decisions? What if we decide, hey, this keyword hasn't been performing, let's pause it. Well, that and you don't have conversion tracking set up, that keyword could be a big keyword for you. It could be driving 60-70% of your conversion volume through that one keyword. And if you have incorrect conversion tracking set up, you're making blind decisions left, right, and center. So this is why it's crucial to be informed and to make sure that you have conversion tracking set up inside your Google Ads account from day one, I would say. And then finally, one of the most common things I see, or the third most common thing I see inside Google Ads accounts from account to account, broad match keywords, but with no control. And another layer on top of that would be 50, 60, 80. I've seen, what did I see the other day? I think 291 broad match keywords in one campaign. And it's just absolutely crazy to think that someone has that number of broad match keywords and they're not managing it. They didn't have any negative keywords in place. That's what I mean by, with no control. They're just letting the broad match keywords run, willy, I can't even say that word, willy-nilly, without any control, without any management. The broad match keywords are just performing day in, day out, spending the full daily budget. And when I checked myself at the search queries that were coming through, the traffic quality was poor. It was terrible. It was a lot of one-word searches, a lot of informational-based searches, nothing really low-funnel, transactional-based, the type of quality and search that we want to go after. it was very, very top funnel, and that's not always a good thing because it soaks up, it eats into your daily budget, soaks up all that budget that, essentially it could potentially be wasting your daily budget, when ideally we want to shift that focus, shift that strategy towards phrase match, towards exact match, and properly manage it with negative keywords in place every 7 to 10 days, going in and reviewing the search terms report, adding negative keywords and making sure that we're staying on top of it. So at the very least, use broad match, but make sure that you're going in consistent basis, adding negative keywords to make sure that at least the traffic quality you're getting is clean. The search terms that are coming through your keywords, your campaigns, your ad groups are clean and are as high quality as possible. Otherwise, what I saw in that account was it just runs away, and it becomes a point where you're getting thousands upon thousands of search terms, impressions, clicks, and it's almost unmanageable at that point. You may have glimmers of hope here and there, but at that point, I would probably just scrap that campaign. There's too much historical bad data in just terrible search queries. You might as well just start again and have a clear outset, a clear strategy from the outset that says, right, we're going to implement a phrase match, an exact match, keyword strategy. We're going to start off with manual or maximize clicks. We're going to get a handful of conversions come through, and then we're going to switch to maximize conversions long term, maybe even throw that target CPA on top of that eventually, and monitor the costs, monitor that cost per conversion, and make sure it's as low as can be whilst being realistic. So those really are the three most common issues I see in 90% of Google Ads accounts. So what I would say is, go in, take a look. If you are you using negative keywords? Do you have conversion tracking set up? Is it accurate? It might have been a while since you've tested it. Maybe go back and just double check, triple check that you've got conversion tracking set up and it's running accurately. Are you using broad match keywords, but are you managing them properly, or are you just left them to their own devices, which would be quite concerning? So go back and check and make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, so to speak. And not only that, you don't need to be perfect. Nobody's perfect in Google Ads. Google Ads isn't a game of perfect. It's quite funny because somebody said this to me not too long ago, but in a different sport. Someone said to me, golf isn't a game of perfect. And very, very true. I think it might have been my golf teacher. Shout out to John who said that to me. But the same is true almost for anything in life. We're humans, we businesses aren't perfect. Humans aren't perfect. Google Ads is not perfect. You can't have the perfect campaign. There is no such thing. There's always something you could be changing, experimenting, testing with here, there, and everywhere. And I think that's the real honest kind of raw advice that you might get from us on this channel, is that there is no such thing as perfect. We're all striving to get the best quality campaign that we can get, the best quality results for our clients that we can get, and if you're a business owner, the best quality leads that you can get, or sales. So don't worry about being perfect, because you're basically chasing a dream. There's no such thing as perfect when it comes to Google Ads. But, if you can make sure that you're ticking off the boxes, that you've got conversion tracking set up and it's working accurately, that you are using negative keywords, that you are controlling and managing broad match keywords to a degree, then you're doing a lot of things right. And then maybe that number flips. Maybe rather than 90% of Google Ads accounts are doing these things that are wrong, potentially, once you have conversion tracking set up correctly, once you are consistently adding negative keywords into your Google Ads campaigns, and if you are experimenting with, keyword match types and things like that, but it's in a controlled environment, you know what the expected outcome is, and you're making tests and experimenting here and there, well, then I would say your account is 90% better than everybody else's, because it sounds like you have a clear idea of what you want to achieve, a clear strategy is in place, that you're testing the boundaries and testing with experiments to get to a certain outcome. So I would say you're 90% better than everybody else. So it's quite funny that. But that was it. I just wanted to jump on really quick this week. I know I've been away a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Gene has done a fantastic job of putting out content on the channel for us, keeping things up to date, which is amazing. But I'm back now anyway, for a few weeks at least. So Gene couldn't make it today, so I thought I'll take the reins on this one. But I'm sure we'll be back next week as normal for a duo episode. In the meantime, give us a like on YouTube. We're also on TikTok. I think we're on Instagram as well. So we're always releasing new content each and every week, Mountain Time Mondays. So stay tuned. We're on Spotify. We are on YouTube. So give us a watch, give us a listen. We always appreciate the support. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to email us at theppccave@gmail.com. You can find me, Ryan Fenton, ppc.co.uk, for all of your lead generation and e-commerce concerns, questions, management, audits, consultations. Anything you're interested in, feel free to reach out. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if that's it, if there's nothing else, I'll see you all next time. Take care.